In my last video, Hello AK in the comment section said I should do a video about the untouchable players that Sandy Alderson referred to in the press conference talking about the Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco trade. I thought that was a great idea, so that's what this video is going to be about. If there's a video you would like to see, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. I'll give it some consideration. If I feel like that is something that a lot of people would like to see, I definitely will make that. So if you guys like this video talking about the different prospects and the farm system to be excited about, make sure to leave a like, comment. What do you think about the Mets' current state of the farm system and these untouchable prospects? Do you consider them untouchable? What kind of deals would you be willing to put them in? Because we saw Francisco Alvarez name come up for a Chris Bryant trade, which now has been shot down. But still, just the fact that the Cubs would ask for him, the Mets were like, this is an untouchable player, you're not getting him. And if you guys want to help support me and make my day and make me happy, make sure to press that subscribe button. And if you're subscribed already, tell a friend. So the first prospect I want to talk about is the one that I personally am the most excited about, and that is their catching prospect, Francisco Alvarez. He's a 19-year-old international prospect that the New York Mets got from Venezuela. And what I really like about Alvarez mostly is the position that he plays. It's such an important position, but catcher. Obviously, the Mets have been searching for a great two-way catcher for what seems like forever, ever since Mike Piazza was here, because I loved Paul LaDuca, but he wasn't here all that long. You know, obviously the Ramos experiment didn't work out, and we'll see what happens with James McCann. But still, the Mets need a long-term solution, a catcher for the future, and that's what I'm hoping that Francisco Alvarez can do. Francisco Alvarez only had one minor league season so far and had a .312 batting average. The Mets organization has been impressed with the way he plays defense at such a young age. Now, what I also like about Alvarez is that since he's only 19, he falls right in line with the James McCann deal. Once McCann's 4 years are up, boom, Francisco Alvarez could take over. And even in the last year of James McCann's deal, Francisco Alvarez could catch part-time, with McCann and have some days, because a catcher's not going to play every day. You need a backup catcher to play plenty of games. So that's something that Alvarez could do and just get a little bit of major league experience, not be rushed. Also, Alvarez could learn under James McCann, because it looks like McCann is a really good guy, and if McCann's as good defensively as we hope he is, that would be great for Francisco Alvarez to pick up a few pointers, especially on something like framing, which is something that we've heard about a lot with James McCann. So I'm really excited about him, and I could see why he would be an untouchable prospect. There aren't that many great catchers out there, and even the ones that are, they are very hard to get. Just look what JT Realmuto's been asking for in this offseason. The next prospect that is considered untouchable for the New York Mets is Matthew Allen, 19-year-old right-handed starting pitcher. Now, Matthew Allen is a very interesting player because this is a guy that has first-round talent, should have been selected in the first round, but because of the salary demands that he wanted as far as the signing bonus, it turned a lot of teams off, and the Mets were able to get him in the third round, probably one of the big-time steals of the draft. That was a great deal by the Mets to get somebody so talented so late in the draft. Matthew Allen only made 5 starts in the minor leagues, and he pitched to a .261 ERA, so far so good. Obviously, he was very good in school. That's why he was such a big-time prospect. And as of right now, he's got a 97-mile-per-hour fastball. He also has a curveball and a changeup. We know how important pitching is. We know how important starting pitching is. And as the years go on, the Mets are going to need some starting pitchers to fill in. We don't know if they could retain Stroman, retain Syndergaard. What are they going to do with Steven Matz? Jacob deGrom can only be good for so long. deGrom is in his 30s, so you're going to need some young, controllable pitchers to step up. So it wouldn't surprise me if within 2 years, we see Matthew Allen becoming a big contributor for the New York Mets. Up next is Ronnie Mauricio, another guy who's probably considered untouchable because you look at the trade that just happened. He is a 19-year-old switch-hitting shortstop, was also an international prospect that the New York Mets signed. The fact that the Mets traded Jimenez and traded Rosario but held on to Mauricio, I feel like says a lot about how the organization feels about him. Mauricio, he's 6'3", 166 pounds, and he does have a nice swing. Mauricio's average in the minor leagues was in the 270s, and it kind of tailed off toward the end. In the start, he did really well, but there was a time when Mauricio was playing, he was 17 years old, going up against guys that were 3 years older than him, so he was trying to just compete with these older players. Mauricio has a pretty nice swing that's a little long. He has a big leg kick, and then he swings the bat, and he gets very good exit velocity. He has good bat speed, so he definitely could hit the ball hard, but you would like to show up the swing just a tad. That just makes more sense for a baseball perspective. The power isn't there yet because he is only 166 pounds, but I mean, he could hit for some power, and if he gains some weight, which he really should, he definitely should be able to contribute some power numbers. They really like his defense so far, and he could definitely be a shortstop of the future once Francisco Lindor's time is up. If Mauricio is developing really well, he could step in right after him. The next prospect I also am excited about that is untouchable is Pete Pete Crow Armstrong, 19-year-old left-handed hitting center fielder. He also throws left-handed, so he's going to be in the outfield, probably in center field. And Pete Crow Armstrong, he was the first-round pick in 2020, 19th overall. And the thing about Armstrong is that not only is he a center fielder, but he's a really good defensive center fielder. And that is something the Mets have needed. In school, Armstrong raked. He would have a 400 average, 500 average. He hit really, really well. And he didn't get to play too much in school because of the pandemic, so they had to shorten the season. And obviously, he has not had any minor league experience quite yet because he was only selected in 2020, and there was no minor league season. If Armstrong could be anything close to the way he has been offensively when he was in school, he could be a big-time contributor for the Mets because we know how much they need center field. With Armstrong's really good defense and being able to hit the ball just a little bit, that could make a massive difference for the Mets in the near future. Another prospect that the New York Mets would like to hang on to is Brett Baty, third baseman that is left-handed, 21 years old, so he's a bit of a senior citizen compared to all these other 19-year-olds. But he is a first-round selection by New York Mets in 2019 with the 12th overall pick. So left-hand hitting third baseman, he had really good numbers in school. I mean, he had a .615 average in his senior year with 19 home runs. Only had one season in the minor leagues, but the Mets liked the way he was developing and even finished the year with the Brooklyn Cyclones. He was developing pretty quick and moving along within the organization. So that definitely is a good sign for Brett Baty. Obviously, again, no minor league season in 2020, so we can't see exactly how much he has developed since 2019, but he still is a guy that you definitely could see some contributions for in the future at third base. And the last prospect that the Mets probably want to try to hang on to is JT Ginn, another starting pitcher. He is also right-handed, 21 years old, and they got him in the second round, and he was a guy who also had first-round talent, but because of an injury, was selected in the second round. Since he was selected in 2020, again, no minor league season, so we haven't seen how he does in the Mets organization so far, but the scouting report on him, he also has a 97-mile-per-hour fastball like Allen, and he also has a sinker and a slider. So there you have it. Those are the big prospects for the Mets. Those are the guys that are considered untouchable that they want to keep and probably are going to be the future of the New York Mets. What I find so fascinating about all these prospects is the positions that they play, all very important to the Mets and what they want to do right now. When you think about what Sandy and Jared Porter had to say this week after getting Francisco Lindor, they talked about they still want to address center field. They would like to get more pitching. They would like to maybe upgrade third base. They don't love J.D. Davis all that much at third base. And what are all these prospects? Catcher, which you're definitely going to need in the future. Center field, which the Mets need now. Pitching, you could always use. And then third base in the future, the Mets are also going to need. So they're hoping that what they have right now, those guys are going to get the job done. And then these young prospects, as they're developing, they could take over and help make the Mets a complete team. That is the Cohen vision. That is the Sandy Alderson vision. And that's how you build successful baseball teams with the farm system. That's how the Padres got these star players. That's how the Mets got Frankie Lindor. Guys that they took a chance with internationally, like Rosario, like Andres Jimenez, taking Isaiah Green in the second round, taking Josh Wolf. These guys all had talent. They all had upside, and they got you one of the best players in baseball. So these guys can either contribute for your team, or if you feel that the deal is really right and you've got to make the move, eventually maybe you could trade him. But as of right now, I could understand them being untouchable because of the positions of need the Mets have. These guys could fill it. So until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and let's go Mets!